Welcome to Co-op Mode, round 108. This is the official video game podcast of Secret Friends Unite. I'm one of your hosts, Todd Fireball Oxtra. I don't know. I'm trying to give myself a nickname, Mark. And Mark,
I like it.
Nerdy
Fireball. That's badass.
I don't know. We'll come up with something better. How you doing, buddy? It's been 2 weeks since we talked video games.
It has. It's I'm doing good. It's a long weekend here. It's a long weekend there for a lot of people. I know you're not in
some.
That. You had to work today, which sucks. But hopefully everyone had a nice long weekend. If you did have a long weekend, and I'm excited to talk some games. Yeah,
this is going to be a fun one because Mark, let you know that having a Patreon has been a lot of fun. It's been allowing us to do a lot of cool stuff and also introduce some new people into Secret Friends Unite that I'm not even aware of. And that is really illustrated with our newest member in the friend zone, and that is Francie. That's all we know Francie by. We know nothing about Francie, but Francie is now part of the Patreon.
Thanks, Francie. Whoever you
appreciate it.
We love you and appreciate you.
Let us know, Francie. Appreciate it.
Don't. Then mystery we have person. That's always fun.
Yeah, and since we last recorded, we got a new best bud, Mark, and that is Jamie Prinky.
Thanks, Jamie.
Yeah, and by the way, folks, if you want to see who our Patreons are, we now have a dedicated part of our website for all our Patreons. So you can see their beautiful images that I've applied to them, and I give them a little catchphrase. So hopefully you enjoy that. And you know what? You get to be on the Wall of Fame if you get to the level of a BFF or you get to the level of our best buds.
Yeah.
And along with that, we have our BFFs, Sean, Stella, and Henry Nias, and Missy Merchant. Been along with us for a long time. We appreciate you and your dedicated support.
So much.
But you know what, Mark? We got to give Jamie a power up.
Yes. All right. Do you have something in mind?
Okay. Well, I think Jamie gets the power up of saving anywhere. No more save states, no more checkpoints, no more having to wait through the cutscene to get to the boss. She can save anywhere.
That is awesome. So, okay, whoa, hold on. I got to ask some questions here because that's a God mode power. Like, how many times in life have you been like, man, that looks stupid, but I can't try that because I'd probably kill myself? Like, is that like I'm creating a save right now, go off, do your dumb thing, and then if it doesn't work out, just you're right back at the save?
Absolutely. It's like save scumming is the best way to put it. It's like, there's something that I shouldn't do, but I want to try that out. But I don't want to go back 3 hours. It's kind of like the famous one, Mark, if you remember this, in Nintendo Power Magazine, you got Dragon Hero, which was Dragon Quest in Japan. Dragon Hero. I think, was it Dragon Quest or Dragon Hero? Can't remember. It was the first Dragon Quest game in the US. You got a copy of that with Nintendo Power. I was playing that. I was babysitting a kid across the street. He had his NES. I was playing that game. I said, you know what? I got a cursed belt here. I'm going to wear it. Because I'm like, maybe nothing bad will happen. No, something bad, of course, happened. But there was no save state. There was no save anywhere. So essentially, I lost all my progress. And I said, screw this game. Never playing again.
Oh, yep. Well, we've all been there. All right. Well, I can't top that one because that is excellent. I can't top that power. So I'm just going to add to it. And I'm going to add something simple, but I'm going to add something that I think will make it even more fun. And that's a double jump. That's it. Like you can't double jump IRL normally. So
okay, in real life. So we're saying this is a real one. So I was thinking like a save state in a video game, like save anywhere.
Oh no, I'm thinking like this is your real life. You get this power up in real life.
I love it.
So like the power to be able to just be like, okay, I'm gonna do something stupid, save, and then double jump off a cliff. Like that is just fun times waiting to happen. Like I think the double jump really adds to the lifestyle of like, hey, there's a cat stuck in a tree. This could end poorly, but I'm going to save right now and then double jump to get the cat. If it ends great, I'm a hero. If it doesn't, save state, let's do this again. So
perfect. I like this.
Real life power up. I'm going double jump.
So my double jump is essentially like almost a foot because I think my regular jump is 6 inches.
All right. Good jumping ability plus double
Okay.
jump. Let's
Assume
just do,
a
let's give
fantastic
like
jump.
the Mario jump or something like that. Yeah,
Okay.
like a good,
So like I'm almost like
kinda,
you're doing like a total somersault while you're doing it. It's totally
Mhm.
cool looking. You look awesome.
Yeah. We're going 90s Super Nintendo action game double jump of just ridiculous proportions. Yeah, that's a good
Perfect. So no
one.
monkey's paw in our power up this month. This
No,
love it.
no, not at all. Yep.
Love it.
Yep. I
Fantastic.
mean,
All
well,
right.
kind of. Because like if you remember everything from your save state, you might have to experience your own demise. Depending on how stupid, like I would definitely experience my own demise over and over again. I'd be just constantly saving, just constantly like, gee, I wonder what this does. And it just, electrocution, and we just like come back and just be like, okay, well, don't touch that thing anymore. But if you remember it, that's a little bit of monkey's paw because then you have to deal with living your own.
Post traumatic stress. Oh my god, PSCD. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Just maybe be careful with it.
Okay. Because we've all had that point where we mistakenly saved at the wrong moment. Like we have like one health bar and there's no place to get health. And you're like, why did I do that? I'm never getting out of here. Yeah.
Yep.
Use it wisely.
There we go.
Awesome. Well, very good. Hopefully, Jamie, you enjoy your power up and use it well. But with that, we get to buy, rent, return, Mark, and I'm going to hand this over to you because I said, Mark, you've been so happy with my picks over the last how many episodes. I said, why don't you pick it this time, Mark?
Yeah, I thought about doing something like Nintendo specific or just like pick your favorite Pokemon or something. I didn't. I went pretty good. So a lot of the theme today is going to be DLC focused and talking about some stuff, and we'll get to that in the bonus round and some stuff that was thrown out in our Discord. But I wanted to keep with that theme for the buy rent return and just go with some awesome DLC. So my choices for buy rent return awesome DLC are The Witcher, Blood and Wine, Shovel Knight, entire treasure trove DLC additions that were added on there, and Breath of the Wild Champions Ballad. So they are the three options. We got Brennan Myers hitting us back with the choices of he's going to return the treasure trove. Killing me slightly there, Brendan. Treasure trove, but the reasoning behind that, because of it being different playable characters, where he would want more Shovel Knight. I understand that.
Sure.
You meet a character that you absolutely in love, and then they make you play all the villains or whatever. I get it. There was no DLC in that thing that I liked the person more than Shovel Knight. Like I kind of get what Brendan's saying there of like, yeah, like give me Shovel Knight 2 at some point. So it's not just like, one great Shovel Knight game and then a whole bunch of like bad person spin-offs kind of thing. I get that. I can understand that. Rent the Champion's Ballad because it is a fun addition, but nothing to brag about. And then buy Blood and Wine because it is more/better content for the base game, which is already amazing. The Witcher. So there we go. Todd.
Wow, this is a hard one because, well, it's hard. 2 out of 3 are hard for me. I guess, Mark, I'm guessing you can probably tell which the not so hard one is. But for me, we'll start with I'm going to return the Ballad Champions. I played a little bit of it. To me, a lot of the felt in that game felt like it was things that should have been just part of the game, like tracking your progress and showing where you've been. I'm like, that's a weird one. That was not for everybody, but I totally get it. The other things, like the one mode where you basically show up naked and you've got like, in your trunks and you're trying to survive, and kept getting killing by a bat, and I'm like, this is not fun anymore. Turn it off. It's all done. But I think a lot of people enjoyed that because it was just getting back into that game, give you another reason. So totally get it. Just not for me. Then Shovel Knight Treasure Trove. This is a rent. Not because I didn't enjoy the game. Shovel Knight is like the only game I ever beat on my Vita. and I owned it on my Vita, which meant I got cross-buy on my PS4,
Mhm.
which means I still have the game, even though I don't have the Vita anymore. And you got so much content in, it's great. The Plague Knight, like I think to Brendan's point, you may not like how the Plague Knight plays, or you may not like the Spectre of Torment part, or the King of Cards, or the Shovel Knight Showdown. But it's all there as something else to play. And quite honestly, I think people are all like, let's have a new version of Shovel Knight, but they kept on giving you more Shovel Knight. So it's almost like an embarrassment of riches. But to me, I never fully got into the other parts. But I mean, if you love Shovel Knight and you love that aesthetic and their gameplay, it's a lot and it's well worth the money. It's, I mean, for the amount you spent, maybe $20, I think, when it came out. It's definitely the best deal, one of the best deals in gaming all the time. And I love Shovel Knight. That's my favorite, like, of those 8-bit like throwback games.
Yeah.
Phenomenal. It really takes me back. Love it. Yeah. And then it's going to be and it's funny because you could have picked any of the Witcher DLC, Heart of Stone, Blood and Wine. I don't even know what to say because that DLC felt like a sequel. And after finishing The Witcher, I needed these games because I made some bad choices in The Witcher and I was a broken man after that game. And I needed something to take me out of it. And this is exactly what it was for Geralt. This was a way for him to like kind of get back into his groove. Like Stella got her groove back. This was me getting my groove back. But you could also play these standalones by themselves. You didn't have to beat the campaign, which was very cool. So that's my buy. I think some of the best expansions, whatever you want to call them, in the world, and they're part of the complete edition, which is now updated on PS5 and Series X.
Correct. All right. I picked 3 really difficult ones for me because they're all fantastic. And I even just listening to you and seeing what Brendan wrote, I'm kind of torn with this. I think I'm going to go with a weird controversial pick that is probably not the correct pick and is stupid. So I'm going to return Blood and Wine because Witcher 3 is big enough already. That every time I start to play Witcher 3, I get lost in it and I end up not completing it. It's kind of like for me, like a Skyrim kind of thing. Like I've started and stopped Skyrim so many times on so many different platforms that it's just like I end up going off and doing 100 hours worth of like side quests and stuff. And that's, yeah. And I could probably say the same thing about Zelda, but whatever. I'm here to just get those like negative comments.
You're okay to be basically just be hypocrite, Mark. That's okay.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. I want angry people coming at my Twitter and blowing up the comments of this YouTube video and get that engagement up. So here we go. I'm gonna rent the treasure trove because kind of similar to what you and Brendan said, like it's great. It might not be for everyone. So the characters maybe not were not as engaging as like Shovel Knight. And I liked some of them. I wasn't a huge fan of some of the others, but like you said, for value, like it was just an amazing kind of value for the whole package. And it was impressive that they kept going with it with the success. A lot of companies, and I know this was promised because of the whatever Kickstarter or whatever they did for getting this game going. So a lot of companies I think would just kind of like fire out these little sequel-esque kind of things and just like, hey, we're moving on to Shovel Knight 2, bigger, better, faster, whatever, and go from there. But they kind of stuck with it. So that means I'm buying the Champions Ballot. I've painted myself into a corner here. I did like the Champions Ballot. I do understand what you mean about should have been included in the base game because you get so much of the history, backstory, and characterization of the champions that I think that could have benefited the base game. But I did like playing it. It gave me an excuse to go back to Zelda. And contrary to your point, the map, the tracing where you have gone on the map, I did like that was DLC. Because for me, it was I spent 100 plus hours in this game or whatever, 200 hours, however long I took exploring and doing everything in the game that I wanted to do. And then they unlocked that, which could show me like, oh, I missed this entire area of the map. Now, if I had that, I probably would have taken the time when I was first playing the game and to be obsessed with that map and that line and whatever. But being able to come back to it after everything was kind of what I thought was finished and say, okay, cool, what's up here, and explore absolutely new parts of this map that after 100+ hours or more I hadn't seen. I thought that was an interesting bit of DLC to just bring me back into that world. I didn't need it. It didn't have to be there. It would have been cool to explore that the first time, but there's things that you miss with this world being so big. And I really liked that as DLC edition, additional content.
How
think,
I'm gonna say, what about this if it's just you beat the game and it's New Game Plus? So you
yeah,
don't get it at jump, but it's not like something you have to spend $20 to get, but you have to beat the game. So it's essentially, it's a nice thing to come back to as a New Game Plus.
absolutely. Yeah. It definitely could have been included in the base game. And, that's, yeah, is what it is, I guess. But I do think Blood and Wine is probably the best one. So I should probably buy that, but I'm not going to because I just want to be different than you guys. So there we go. That's my picks. And it's definitely wrong, but I said what I said and we'll keep going.
I love it. I love it. And the funny part is Sean Nias, who's a good friend of ours, obviously patron, all this fun stuff. And he's like, what are these games? And this deal, I've never heard of anything like
Yeah, you heard of
we
Breath
love
of the
Sean.
Wild, Sean?
Exactly. Ever heard of Breath of the Wild and
Fast,
Witcher?
You
Exactly.
have not heard of Breath of the Wild, the one of the top rated games of all time, one of the best games in recent memory. Sequel's coming up, bud. Time to play it now.
By the way, Sean's put like probably $400 into Destiny 2. So that's where his mind is. So we probably just should have just, what's your favorite Destiny 2 DLC? Sean be like, okay.
And when I was going through this, I was trying to think. I didn't have Champions Ballad on there at first at all, to be honest. My first choices were like Witcher Blood and Wine was always there. That was my first choice right off the bat. But I almost picked something from Destiny and I couldn't decide on Destiny or Destiny 2. I couldn't decide on one DLC or
yeah, because you could do like you could done like the first. Yeah, because certain DLCs in Destiny have changed the game for the better and for the worse. My son's right now is getting ready for the new like drop, and he's showing me like, oh my god, and I'm like, that's awesome. Yeah. I don't know what's going on. But it was what we were talking about, like a topic for this week. And this almost became like the topic was DLC. Maybe we'll talk about that in a future episode, like dedicated just, what makes good DLC, the best of the class, the worst of whatever. But I was thinking, because I was looking at games I own that I have DLC that I really just need to get to, like Control. The DLC on that is supposed to be like top tier. The DLC for Resident Evil 8 Village. Yeah. It's there. I own it. And I didn't realize this, Mark. I own Shovel Knight Treasure Trove on Switch. How do I own that? Why did I buy that? I own it somewhere else. I don't know. This world is crazy.
It is a very Switch feeling game.
It is. Oh yeah. It's definitely yeah.
And the other option for this is I almost went that direction was Nintendo stuff, but I wanted Shovel Knight was going to stay on there, but it was going to be Breath of the Wild and then the newer stuff from Mario Kart 8. And then I was like, do I go Nintendo first party and swap out Shovel Knight for Splatoon? Like the Splatoon 2 Octo expansion, especially with that big story kind of thing that I thought really added to the game. So landing on this, what I actually landed on, like took a little while. I kept bouncing back and forth between how much do I want to torture Todd with Nintendo specific stuff or just go vague in general with just some awesome DLC. So there we go.
Yeah, I mean, even like I think one that is like you didn't have to pay for it was Gears of War 5 Hive Busters.
All right.
Just a nice drop of new, fresh content. Didn't have to do it. Had nothing really to do with anything else. New protagonists. I'm like, that's amazing. And they gave it to you for free. And it was a clunky, chunky bit of combat. And they actually added in like these characters with special abilities. So that's awesome. I mean, when people just do that, like here's something for free, enjoy. Why not?
Yeah, always great.
Yeah, absolutely. So now we got to get into what we've been playing. So, Mark, I'm very excited about this first game you've been playing because when I look at it, I'm like, this is the goofiest thing in the world, and I love it.
Yeah. So this is one from Outright Games, and I'm an Outright Games ambassador. And my son loves this show. He has a giant Gigantosaurus stuffy that he chases us around with. It's very entertaining. My brother gave him that not last Christmas, but like a
Wait,
couple
this
of
is a
years ago.
real
And he's
thing?
always this
I
is a
thought it
real
was just
thing.
a
Yeah, it's a
game.
real show. No, no,
Oh
no,
my
no.
God.
This
I
is all
didn't know
based
this.
off of a show.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
Gigantosaurus is fantastic. So this is called Gigantosaurus Dino Kart. It just came out February 17th, so this is a brand new release. And currently, right now, I'm still running a little contest over on Twitter to give away an Xbox copy of this game. So if you're listening, I am going to run this contest until I think I'll close it like Thursday or Friday, just to make sure people get a chance to listen to this episode. But it is running right now. I've got a couple of entries. But yeah, go over to the_Canardian on Twitter and you can enter that right now to win a copy of the game. But yeah, Gigantosaurus is based off of a cartoon called Gigantosaurus. This is a Dino Kart racing game. There are some other Gigantosaurus games as well if you're a fan of that. Outright Games published Gigantosaurus the game, aptly named. That was back in 2020, I want to say. And that's out for everything. But this one is also out for PS5, Nintendo Switch, PS4, Xbox One, Windows, Xbox Series, consoles, whatever. Developed by 3D Clouds and published by Outright Games. Like most of the Outright Game stuff that's based on kids' cartoons, this one starts you off on easy mode. I could hand fin the controller right off, very similar to the Paw Patrol racing game, and it's it automatically has like lane assist on, automatic go. It basically like literally just kind of handed him the controller, and he was just randomly hitting buttons and randomly doing things, and he still kind of enabled him to race. And it was the only downside of just randomly handing Finn a controller and watching the AI drive for him was the Y button on Xbox in this one. The Y button resets you. On Switch, it's the X button, that button up top. So it'll reset you, which is great if you get stuck in a sticky situation. Not so great if you're racing and then you hold in or press that button and it sends you back a little bit. So not ideal, especially for a 2.5-year-old with a controller that just wants to press all the buttons. So he ended up falling a little bit behind because he really liked just the poof that happens when you set yourself back. And like he had a pretty good lead at first and just kept going back. So aside from that, awesome. He really loved it. I played this a bit too, just to kind of see, how it felt. I've done comparisons, and I'm going to release a comparison video on our YouTube channel, so watch out for that. I just have to capture a little bit more footage to be happy with, but a comparison between Switch and Xbox, because I got copies of both. Yeah, I really kind of dig, both versions, to be honest. If you want to get this on Switch, if your kid has a Switch, feel free. It's not like a dumbed down version. The visuals obviously aren't quite as vibrant on the Switch, but like still very colorful, very bright. Everything still runs really nicely. It's, just shines a little bit brighter on the Xbox Series X, but yeah, perfectly capable on Switch. There's a lot of stuff to unlock. There's a ton of characters from the TV show. There's a wide variety of like stages and cups and different things that you can play through, like adventure mode and unlock. And like I said, it's kid friendly right out of the gate. So yeah, big recommendation on this game. It's so far really good. I have been hearing of some bugs, so I do want to address that. People were talking about like so like any kind of good kart racing game, there's like different power ups, and but there's also in this game like level hazards basically. So like one of the first levels, they'll like shoot rocks at you from from a like a rock slide kind of thing. But then there's apparently there's something that they may have disabled Gigantosaurus in Gigantosaurus's own game, because in the cartoon, Gigantosaurus is a massive kind of T-Rex looking dinosaur type thing. Um, and apparently in this, some people have been complaining that Gigantosaurus has stepped on them and sent them through the stage, like kind of
Oh,
clipped stage kind of
yeah.
thing. So I haven't experienced that bug myself. Um, but I have been hearing some stuff in the Ambassadors Club Discord
I might
of
like getting like crushed by Giganotosaurus and put to the bottom.
yeah.
Does it do the Mario Kart thing where it's like a little guy in a cloud puts you back on the track, or no?
Well, no, that's the poof, like that
Oh, the
X
poof
or
does it.
Y
Okay,
button kind of
got
poof.
it.
Yeah,
No
it's not quite
pterodactyl
as
comes by and swings by and picks you up and go boop.
no, it
Okay.
just kind of snaps you back there. But that's it so far. Like it's a very competent racing game. It's a very kid friendly racing game, but something that the whole family can play too. So, uh, there's the drift mechanic. There's everything in there that you'd want from a good kart racer. That keep you coming back and give you a nice little alternate from Mario Kart that we've been enjoying the same game for. I don't know how long's Mario Kart 8 been out.
Since
27 years at this point,
2012,
something
maybe
like
since
that.
the Wii U. Yeah,
Yeah,
like
20
10 years,
27 years,
like
something like that.
11
Yeah.
years, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So I like it, man. And if you have a kid that likes dinosaurs as much as mine does, no brainer. Like check this one out.
Dinosaur. Oh man, that reminds me of like there was a show Logan liked on PBS called Dino Dan. It was great about a kid in reality, and they had like CGI dinosaurs that he would like learn about. Such a great show for kids.
Cool. This reminds me of an old game. Oh shoot, what was that game? It's like an old racing game. Crag Chromag Rally.
Oh, with like cavemen.
Yeah,
Oh, okay,
it kind
I
of
can see
reminds me of
that.
that.
Everybody had a
Like
kart racer back in the day, right?
Chromag Rally was like my jam back in the day. That was a good one.
Yeah,
I had
and
that
that's why
like
every
yeah,
once in a while you get a gem. You get like a Sonic
yeah,
racer. You get a car Crash racer. I mean, you do. So this is great that you get those. And you know what? Nobody owns carts, and they're great. And it's
yeah,
fun that these are great for younger audiences too.
yeah, yeah. Really solid racer, especially like you said for the like younger racers and stuff. Like
Yeah,
really good. So check it out.
very cool.
I
So
can yeah. Do you want me to continue and then or do you want to do one on one?
no, go ahead. Because I was going to
Okay.
say, because I was, before you came on, I was getting back into Hi-Fi Rush to try it on my
Oh,
PC because my
awesome.
PC has been having some problems. So the great thing about now on Game Pass on PC, my save progress transfers as well. So it plays pretty well on that. I was worried about my PC because it's struggling still, but it plays pretty well there on even a kind of crappy system at this point. So how you like it so far?
I love it. And Finn watched me play it. It's colorful enough then that it's he didn't really get the repercussions of like trying to recall the person who's who just got a robot arm kind of thing, and some of the social commentary bits of it. But he was just digging the music. Both he and Loren were kind of like in the room like playing and stuff, and I was kind of like playing it myself, and like we all ended up on the couch just kind of like jamming out to the music and just kind of like watching this colorful game. So I'm not super far into it. I beat the first boss so far and kind of moved into
The big buff lady.
yes,
Okay. Oh, she's awesome. When she comes on
she is.
stage, she looks awesome. And yeah.
Yeah. So finished that one. That big the giant robot boss was badass too.
It's
The
neat
weak
because
point boss.
the mechanics are great. And I was thinking of like, I'm trying to find all of like the music in the game because there are unique tracks and there are also
Mhm.
licensed tracks too. Which is kind of fun because you're like, okay, is this going to work with, music, and it does really well, but there's
Absolutely.
also unique tracks as well.
Yeah. So that's the one that brought my wife over was Lonely Boy. She was just kind of like, "What are you playing?" And
Nice.
that was it. She came over and I was like, "Okay, I'm gonna jam to this for a second." Um, so yeah, Hi-Fi Rush. It's I know you talked about it last time, so I'm just gonna kind of say like I'm really enjoying it. It's really good. I'm hoping to play more of it this week and kind of get more into it and get a little deeper into it. But it is really really solid. I love the the vibe, the color, the music, the rhythm parts of it. It's a really really strong addition to Game Pass
Yeah.
and
Pro tip.
amazing for a surprise drop.
Yeah, a pro tip. I've got my Xbox controller in front of me. Hit the little button. I think it's the box. I don't know what you would call it. Options.
Yeah, like I still always call it a select button because I'm old
Yeah, it's
and
the far
that's
left
it.
button, option button on the left. If you do that, you'll get like a nice little
The little
rhythm
bar down the
bar,
bottom. Yep.
which is nice that they don't tell you you can get, and it's great. And Mark, I will tell you this: you can then go to your TV to see if it's any lag. The only thing I found though, it can tell you you've got lag. It will not adjust the lag though. So
Oh,
you may have a problem with, yeah, a lot of people have been saying, yeah, thanks for telling me I've got a lag. And thanks for not actually adjusting the lag, which is okay. Because I think half the fun is it doesn't punish you. It only rewards you if you get it right.
yeah, yeah, and that's like one thing that I so far haven't noticed any lag. My TV seems to be, keeping up pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
Um, maybe I should test that. But yeah, that's been really fun, and I did turn that bar on pretty quickly because I had heard some other people talk about it, and um, it's very useful. So yeah, but like you said, it doesn't punish you for not being on the beat, but you just get those rewards for being on beat. And so far, I've been pretty good at like timing those, and you get those little bonus kind of like circle combo hits and all that kind of stuff. Like
So
it's
rewarding when
really
it
good.
does it.
So good. Yeah. Um, so if you haven't picked up Hi-Fi Rush or you haven't checked that out, I highly recommend checking it out. It's really, really good. And then the last
Have
thing I've been playing.
I was
Oh,
going to
go
ask you
sorry.
really quick though. Did you get the grappling hook?
No, not
Oh,
yet.
you're gonna love the grappling hook when you get it. So
Okay.
good.
All right. I know. Yeah, there's some unlocks and stuff. So that's what I mean. Like I beat that first part. I'm in the little hideout thing now, and I know I have to like talk to her to upgrade some parts, and that's the last bit I played. So that's coming. That'll be the first one I focus on if it's that good. All right, cool. Um, so I'm like itching to play that now. I just picked it. I just started it this weekend, so I haven't had too much time to play it, but man, it's so good. And the last thing I've been picking out a little bit this weekend, I finished a couple of the worlds in Super Mario Land 2, Six Golden Coins, which is now on Nintendo Switch Online as part of the Game Boy and Game Boy Advance collections. Um, I love this game. It's so good. I'm so happy that they picked this one instead of picking just Super Mario Land because this game is so much better, like leaps and bounds better. It is just a far superior game, and I'm really happy that Nintendo can admit with their own library sometimes when like something is better, you know what I mean? Like it's kind of rare for Nintendo. Like a lot of time you expect Nintendo to be like, nope, you're playing Super Mario Land first and you'll get number 2 next year and then number
Here's your
3 the year
medicine.
after.
Take it before you get your sugar.
Right? Like they do that kind of stuff. So this game being released is such a nice thing. And I've been playing around with like the filters because I had a Game Boy Color and that's where I first played it. But I also kind of want to experience it on like just the Game Boy screen. So there's a lot of filters that you can play with in the Nintendo Switch Online menus to make it look like the original Game Boy or the Game Boy Pocket or the Game Boy Color. And it actually will change kind of the palette of the game depending on like if the game was optimized for Game Boy Color, and some games weren't, and it just kind of colored some stuff in randomly. Like that's how the Pokemon games were. Um, so it's a really cool throwback, and I still have my Game Boy Color, and it still like functions. The game carts don't always function, but whatever works. But yeah, this is one that I absolutely love, and I've been loving playing it back, and it's such a cool Mario game because you don't have to beat anything in any particular order. Like you can just get the 6 coins, like however you feel like tackling them. So, yeah, I love this game. It's so good. I played it a couple of years ago on my 3DS. Feels great to revisit right now on Switch. I think I did. Maybe not for that one, but there was a game that I was playing where I had to switch like they do that stupid thing where like they stick with the A and B buttons, but it
Mm,
feels so natural for run to be Y and jump to be
yeah.
B. Um, so I think I have switched after GoldenEye. I'm like not afraid to switch my controller button placement around and that kind of stuff now. So I've been playing around with that a little bit more, but it still feels pretty good just messing around with even the default layout. So if you haven't checked out the Game Boy and Game Boy Advance games, definitely there's some gems there. And I'm expecting, before you talk about your games, I am expecting, I do want to throw out a little prediction here that we are going to get the announcement of a Pokemon game on February 27th.
Wow. Bold, Mark. Bold prediction.
So it's not as bold as you might think. So February 22nd, 27th is, well, okay, it's a little out there, but February 27th is a week from today when we're recording. And that is Pokemon Day. For the last 2 or 3 years, we've gotten a specific Pokemon Day direct presentation, whatever you want to call it, on Pokemon Day. And I'm expecting another one of those this year with some Scarlet and Violet DLC, but also
Mm-hmm.
what else do they have in the pipeline? Something new, I'm guessing, probably for
Pokemon
Detective
Sleep.
Pikachu, Pokemon Sleep, some stuff that they've talked about that we haven't heard about. But this would be such an easy win coming
Yeah.
off of a well-received Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, but also kind of critically pooped on for like there were a lot of problems with that
Yeah.
game and still are. This would be such an easy win for them to say, yeah, they just launched this on Nintendo Switch Online, and here you go. Throughout the next year or whatever, you're getting Red and Blue, Gold and Silver, Scarlet and Violet, or Sapphire, Ruby and Sapphire on the Game Boy Advance, and expect these to drop throughout the year. Such an easy win. Everyone would go crazy. You'd
Yeah.
absolutely dominate the news cycle of like Pokemon games are coming to Switch. Like it's a no-brainer win.
It's not going to steal sales when they eventually do any type of remaster or whatever. Because guess what? Those are still Game Boy games that a lot of folks will be like, it's a curiosity. It's fun. Great. I want the latest and greatest. I want the better visuals. I want the creature comforts. I want those things. So yeah, you can serve two masters in a way to do that. And I think to your point. So Mark, I'm going to hold you to the fire. We're going to go crazy. So what's
Yep.
like you said, they picked Super Mario Land 2, not 1. So are they going to go like the very first game, or are they going to go like, your thought would be like, what's the game from Game
Mm-hmm.
Boy that they would go after, or Game Boy Color or whatever? What's the game that they should do? Because I will tell you this, for folks, unless you get like the expansion pack version, you only get the Game Boy Color on the base version, like I've got. So I'm in the poor man version. So I'm guessing they would do like the lowest common denominator, right? They wouldn't go GBA, and that's the only one you get unless they're cruel masters and they want you to spend extra money. So what do you think?
That's it. Depending on Nintendo Switch numbers right now, like the online plus expansion pack subscription numbers, they could do that a couple of different ways. My personal thoughts is they're going to do red and blue. Very easy to do. Maybe throw in yellow and do all three, play whatever version you want. But I could see them just doing red and blue and then doing gold and silver. Like I could see them doing these games in order, because once you play like a newer one, the curiosity to go back is not as strong and you miss some of the improvements. So if you play even Ruby and Sapphire on the Game Boy Advance one, which I could see them doing if like Nintendo Switch Online subscription numbers are down, like that's a good way. Like, oh, we're dropping Ruby and Sapphire in the Game Boy Advance version, pay the extra tier and you get that game. Cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. Nintendo's happy and Pokemon Company gets another dump truck full of money. Um, that's a kind of shitty scenario though. I'm thinking that they just drop red and blue, because even if you play gold and silver, the improvements that they made in that game, while kind of incremental, but that's an actual Game Boy Color game where red and blue aren't. And there's just those quality of life improvements that if you play that and then you try to come back and play red and blue, it feels weird and you start to get annoyed. And that's why, like, it also kind of depends on if they're doing any remakes this year. You know, if they are remaking Gold and Silver, we probably won't see those on this service, where we already got Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee. So that was kind of the remakes of Gold or Red and Blue. So, you know, I doubt we'll get like a full remake of those games anytime soon. So it kind of all depends on a couple of factors, but my gut feeling is Red and Blue launches first.
Very good, Mark. I'm glad you didn't hedge your bets. You were honest on there. So take that, Mr. Nintendo. Make it happen. Doug Bowser, come out of your hiding and make Mark a happy man.
Yep.
Come on, Doug.
What have you been playing?
So I will continue to touch upon The Last of Us Part 1 because I am really, and it's funny, I'm enamored with the TV series. We talk about it on Secret Friends Unite if you want to hear about it. Mark, have you watched any of it yet?
About of The Last of Us? I'm caught up,
Yes.
Other than the last episode that just aired this weekend.
Okay, so, but I mean, wowie wow. You played the first game, right?
Correct.
Yes. Okay. So it's been amazing to just do both, play the game in its best form ever, plus also watch it in this amazing adaptation we've gotten. I watched last night. I will say another episode that doesn't disappoint. And I was kind of trying to, once again, track from like a walkthrough of the game where they're at and trying to remember, like, okay, is my mind still remembering me where this is at in the actual progression there? So it's tying out pretty well still with only 3 episodes left. No. Yeah, they're on 7, 8, and 9. So that's the last 3 episodes. So this is 6th. We have 3 more to go. And they could tie it up. It's going to be a tight, race to the finish the first game. So I don't want to spoil anything for you, but I am just loving this whole bringing me back to the game that I have not touched since 2013. Now playing it again as the series has gone on. It's great. I'm enjoying it so much. The fact that they've taken certain things to expand, certain things are just, we're going to do some things. And we're going to do some original things too, which is great. And I've been happy with all of it. Yeah.
Yeah. Holy crap.
And it was so funny, Mark. I will tell you this. I'm not sure if Lauren is very familiar with the series or whatever, but the sound the clickers make in those noises, it drives Chris nuts. She's like, it freaks her out. Holy crap. That sound is so pervasive and just, it's unsettling in the game. And then to hear it in real life, oh my God. I mean, wow. It's amazing.
Lauren had no real interest. I kind of described, she was a little bit interested in what she heard about episode 3, but she hasn't been watching. I've been watching that myself. So not something that I have to worry about her getting driven crazy by the clicker noise.
She won't watch it without you, is what you're saying?
No.
Like my wife with Wednesday, as we said. It was a good time. But yeah, I'm just loving this. So the good news is I don't have to worry about rushing through it. I can watch the show, watch this before I have to worry about like running out of time until the next big game comes out. So I'm really enjoying that. So The Last of Us Part 1, if you've never played, it's on sale right now on PlayStation 5. It was delayed on PC. It's coming out soon. I think it's coming out the end of March. It'll be there. So it'll be great. The show might be wrapped up by then. I don't know. We'll see. It's still great. Really enjoying it. So I'm glad they did that because it's giving me another appreciation to revisit the game versus go back to like 2014 and the PlayStation remaster. So there we go. I don't know if it's worth $70, but still, once again, there's actually, I will say this, if you want to talk about the $70 argument, because now we're talking about The Legend of Zelda being $70, Arlo, who's one of my favorite YouTubers in the world, he's a Blue Muppet, Mark, if you've ever watched Arlo before.
Great. Oh, Arlo's awesome.
Logan and I grew up with Arlo. Logan has an Arlo t-shirt. He just did a great conversation with himself. So it was Arlo versus Arlo debating the $70. It was so good because I'm like, every time I said, well, what is this? He answered the question. And it was such a good and balanced discussion from someone who is a Nintendo fan, but then has reality. So great. So the $70 discussion is another discussion for another day, but I think that's a really good point to say it's worth it if you want it. But I get it. it's a conversation. So move on. So great. Check that out. It's awesome. I cannot wait to see where this show lands. It's fantastic. But the other game we talked about last episode that I had not played that was going to get that, Savage had talked about was Hogwarts Legacy. I had a very good discussion with my son about this game. He's 17 years old, and he is so good at arguing viewpoints of the merits of this game, why he doesn't want to play it, but he's not telling me, Dad, you can't play it. But he's talking about the merits of it, and he talks about, and I tell him like, well, there's some good things in this game too. So we're having a very good discussion about this within our own household about the value of this game. There are, if you want to seek out differing opinions of why you should or should not play this game, they're there. We're not going to talk about this game. I am in full support of the trans community, LGBTQ. I have a family member who is trans, so I fully get this. And where it lands you and where you're going to play. I listened to a podcast called DLC, and while there was someone who said, I'm not a fan of the Harry Potter series whatsoever, but I'm loving this game. But I'm also fully understanding the arguments against this game. So he did a great job talking about art and where this lands and all of those conversations that we should have about the things we want. Because there are so many controversial viewpoints. And it was funny because I was talking to my son. There was an article that just came out that said the Saudi Arabian government now owns 10% of Nintendo.
Yep.
The Saudi Arabian government has zero tolerance towards anybody that's part of the LGBTQ viewpoint and lifestyle, and that is the challenge. And so it's like it becomes a challenge. Like, where does my money go? Who does it support? What is it doing? Yeah, it's a personal choice for everyone. Yeah, and you trace the money, and you will be saddened, and you will be depressed, and you'll be like, what do I even do?
Well, yeah. And that's well, one of the arguments I've heard is, there's no, no right choices under capitalism. Everything, there's always something that ties back to someone horrible. So, you go down enough of a rabbit hole and you can't enjoy anything. And the Nintendo thing is another one that not only with the Saudi government, which is terrible enough, but also, what is it called? Super Nintendo World or whatever it is in Universal. So if you go to that, if you go to that theme park just for Nintendo, money goes to J.K. Rowling because Universal, every single ticket that's sold goes to J.K. Rowling, a portion of it, because they don't differentiate ticket sales based on if you're visiting Nintendo Land or Harry Potter World or the Marvel stuff or whatever.
The Fast and the Furious, the Transformers rides. Yeah,
exactly right. You're in the same theme park, so you could go sit on the Mummy for 4 hours and then leave and go home, and that's it. But they split the money up from your ticket to all parties. So every single time that you go there and enjoy anything else, J.K. Rowling gets a cut of that. So, does it? It's so tough, right? Like, what percentage of the money did she get from that? What, again, if you're gonna, every single ad I've seen for this game has PlayStation attached to it, every single one. And if there's money being, Sony paid for that. So if you're going to be boycotting the game, are you going to boycott Sony as well? I didn't personally buy the game, just for anyone wondering. But that's just because I've got too much to play already. And I haven't had the time to sit down myself and worry about that discussion. But that's like, yeah, man, it's rough.
It is rough. And that's the whole point, is there's no right or wrong answer for each individual. But you know what? You can only own your own conscience. And if you think about how much could potentially she get from this game, donate that portion to a charity that supports the LGBTQ community. That's the best you can do because you're transferring the funds and you're offsetting them. That's the only thing we can do because if we say it's a monetary thing, and she was making money with those views before we even knew them, so it's a tough discussion. It really is. But I know her works and the characters in that world has given so many people so much joy, including the people that created this game that have a voice now and are wonderful people. And I think that gets us into the game because this is a show about games. So I don't want to get political, but I just want to say that, I totally understand that there's more to this game than just playing it and enjoying it. But for me, I have enjoyed it. My wife watched me play it and she's like, this is amazing. I feel like I am in the world. I feel like I'm part of living the thing that I've loved. And we've kind of missed out that in the last couple of movies. So we really haven't had that joy and wonder because they've missed to a lot of people. And this is amazing. It's the journey a lot of people have wanted to take within Hogwarts, where you want to live the fantasy of being a student at Hogwarts. It succeeds in that measure. It's beautiful on PlayStation 5. It's really cool. By the way, you can pet the cat. There's tons of cats. And it purrs through the DualSense 5, which is cool. I'm really enjoying it. It's the best Harry Potter game that's ever existed, including the Lego games, which are still pretty good. It's wonderful, and I'm enjoying it so much because there's a campaign, but you can go off and get better at certain things. You can dress up your characters you want. And Mark, it does something I think that most games should do. The best gear is often the ugliest gear, and you look like a fool because you look like Destiny. I got all this cool gear, but I look like a moron. I want to look cool. You can transmogrify the way the gear looks to something cooler, but you still retain those abilities.
You can make your highest level gear look like any other gear that you've picked up.
Exactly. So you're like, if you're set with a cool set, like you want to look like the coolest pimp in the world at Hogwarts with a big pimp feather, you can do that. My guy has these cool dragon sunglasses, and I'm like, this is the weirdest thing in the world, but I like it. It's cool. It's really cool. They also do something where one of the characters that runs Hogsmeade, was it Three Tankards? I'm trying to remember the bar, where you get the butterbeer and everything in Hogsmeade.
Wasn't it the Hogshead?
Maybe,
or three broomsticks?
Is it three tankards? Maybe, I don't know. But the proprietor is a trans character, and they designed it that way. And it's very cool. And you can create a character that has whatever attributes you want and has a voice that's more male or female. They allow you to do that. So in a way, I think that's a big middle finger to a certain person, which is nice. So I appreciate that, but I'm really enjoying it. The story is fun. The powers are great. The battles are awesome because they're interactive. It allows you to choose how you want to battle. And I'm using Revelio every 2 seconds because in the world of Hogwarts, I've never seen Hogwarts look this way. All of the portraits with the ghosts that look at you, Mark, are amazing. And it's like, wow, somebody put a lot of care into this game, and I really love it. So I'm really enjoying it, and I can't stop playing it. So that's the best thing I can say about this game. But I could totally get it if you're like, Todd, you're a jerk for playing this. I get it. Totally get it. It's a mixed bag of feelings, for sure.
Well, I'm not going to say that. I've heard arguments from both sides and decent arguments from different communities of people that it's tough, and it's like I said, one of those arguments is like, are you burning your PlayStation 5? Are you never going to Universal? Are you supporting Universal Studios in general, let alone the theme parks and whatever? Are you supporting Nintendo? Are you doing it's so much, and it's headache inducing to start. But I you also want to support people and make them feel loved and welcome and supported. So, yeah,
it's tough. It truly is, because when the things you love, you don't want to hurt the people that you also support. It's a difficult thing to balance, but that's what I've been playing. And like I said, I'm very excited about the games that are coming out. Atomic Heart is dropping. I tried to preload that, Mark. I tried to play it because it said it was ready. I'm like, it's not even there. Like, what?
No, I did the
And
same
then
thing.
I'm like, where's it at? So it's kind of crazy. And then there's other games that are coming out. Resident Evil 4 is my big game that comes out in March. There's people like Wulong Black Legacy, I think, is coming to Xbox as well. We're in the mix. Is there any other games that you're looking forward to, like in the next 30 days?
Atomic Heart, I that's preloaded on my Xbox and ready to go. That's 100% like I'm excited. Um, I'm hoping maybe I might get my hands on PSVR 2, or at least hear from some people that do, like, not to buy it, but I know a couple of people that are excited to get it, and I'm hoping that I'll get some FaceTime with one of those headsets. Um, that's it off like off the top of my head. But then I know, like, so Sean, Henry, and Stella, there, Sean was talking about a couple of games that he's picking up for PSVR 2, and I think there's a couple of them that are crossplay. So even
Yeah,
on my
Zenith
Quest,
was
I'll
one
be
you
able
talked
to
about.
jump
Yeah,
in. Zenith, I think, is going to be crossplay. It is so I've confirmed that Zenith is crossplay for PC, Quest, and PlayStation VR 1. So you got to figure it's going to be crossplay for this, right?
I would think so too. Yeah.
So that'll be a really cool one. I've been eyeing that game for a while and just never jumped in because, MMORPG, virtual reality. How much time do I want to like jump in there? But if there's someone else like playing that, like, yeah, that might be tempting. So I'm hoping to get a little bit more into VR.
Yeah, and I'm on the same page, and I have an open invitation to a certain Sean Nias and his family to try out PlayStation VR. I had reserved it for him. He ended up getting his own, so it's great. He's going to have it, and I'm really excited to try it out. So my goal is, hopefully in the next 2 weeks, to try it out over at Sean's house, have a good comparison. I also own the Quest. You talked about just the Galaxy's Edge and the game. I'm like, oh, I've never even played that on Quest, but I own it. So I really want to try it out and really get back into Quest if I can before they explode my device and make me buy a Quest 2. So we'll see how that goes. So yeah, I'm very excited to see where that goes and how the technology just has evolved from my humble my Quest 1 to PSVR 2. Yeah, very excited for that. All right, Mark, it's time for the bonus round. And this one is kind of inspired by our Patreon family, the Niases.
Yeah. So we got a little question, like I alluded to earlier, from Henry and Stella, asking, "What are your favorite Fortnite skins?" We talked about it. I have like 400 and something skins in Fortnite. I've been playing since like Chapter 1, Season 2. I think, like, I've been playing since this game was like first out on PlayStation. Like, it's been a long time. So 418 skins, I think, at the last count. So it's been a minute, and I have too many skins to like go through my favorites. But I'm sure like I'll do that at some point. But we kind of narrowed it down to like licensed favorites, because a lot of Henry and Stella's were like licensed favorites that from existing franchises. So they asked what our favorites were. I'm going to go through their favorites because they have some awesome lists here. So Henry's favorites: Hulkbuster, like Iron Man from the comic codes, so good, such a great skin. And those comics were awesome. Spider-Man, again from the comics code, so that's Spider-Man Zero. Really, really cool skin. Amazing detail on that one. I love it. Captain America, not sure. Oh, never mind. He clarified. Haha, there we go. So the original Captain America, Steve Rogers. Number 4 is Mando. Number 5 is the new Captain America that was just released a couple of days ago, and that is Sam's Captain America. Comes with like the wing gliders that come out. They nailed the design on that one. And then 5B, he threw in Wolverine for good measure.
Is that cheating? Like just the
I
5B? Henry, come
I
on.
have 10 on mine, so
You have
my
like
favorite,
5A through E.
my top 5 is a top 10 because I couldn't. Maybe I'll try to narrow it down. I don't know. Here we go. So Stella's are number 1, Darth Vader. Number 2, Boba Fett. Awesome. I love the Boba Fett that they went with, like the new design from the Boba Fett show, like the black underneath. It's so good. Bakugo,
Yeah,
Forest
this is like
Deku.
My Hero Academia. So it's
Yeah,
Bakugo and Deku are both, and Araka. I don't know who that is, but my son and I, oh God, Mark, we are all in on My Hero Academia. My goodness.
they've been pumping up the anime crossovers in Fortnite. So we've got the My Hero Academia ones. We've got like Dragon Ball and stuff like that. They're knocking it out with those.
Yeah,
And I'm sure
Araka is also another My Hero Academia. So shout out
yeah,
Stella. We're
great to
also
see.
big into My Hero Academia as well.
And then 5B. So she went the same and threw Mando in there as another design. And Sean just thinks that Luke and Obi-Wan look amazing. Didn't give us a top 5, but here we go. So, like I said, I have kind of like 10 that I really love. I could probably narrow this down a little bit more. And these are in no particular order. I just kind of looked through my list today. And the comic book version of Batman. So when that came out, there was like a 2-pack. You could get comic version and then like the Dark Knight version, like Christian Bale. That one's fine, but the
Are we
comic book
talking like
version for me,
gray and blue, or are we talking like black and
there's
gold
like
symbol?
it's I'll send you a picture of it later.
Hmm.
But the comic book version, that's kind of the one for me. It is kind of a very Fortnite design. Like they've
Hmm.
done the same with what they've done with a lot of the Marvel characters. So like some of the Marvel characters are like Moon Knight. Looks like he was stripped right out of the TV show. It's not like the comic book design,
Got
it's
it.
the TV show
Hmm.
design. But others are like Fortnite's version of this character.
Yeah.
Right. So it's and Batman is kind of that. Um Steve, Captain America, another one that's really high on my list. Ghost Rider. So good. I love Ghost Rider. I've loved Ghost Rider since I was a kid. The motorcycle, the flaming skull head, just such a great character. And it's one that I keep going back to. So honestly, probably if this is how many times I've used the characters and how often I use them, Ghost Rider is probably at the top of this list.
Really,
Um,
Mark, I've seen a bunch of videos. I don't know if I ever have. That's awesome though. But because Ghost Rider is great. Even
yeah,
Nick Cage Ghost Rider is pretty cool.
yeah, absolutely. The first movie, he goes full Nick Cage and just the scream as his first oh man, that first transition is
Pretty cool.
like top notch comic book and Nick Cage just over the top, overacting, having fun with it. Like if you haven't seen that movie, just go watch that like 4-minute part of Nick Cage being the Nick Cagiest Nick Cage you'd ever want to cage. Um, there we go. Spider-Man standard version. I'm going with a slightly different one. I do love Spider-Man Zero, but I'm going with the standard version because you can do like black suit Spider-Man, and this is all like you can just it's variants of the same skin. So standard Spider-Man, black suit, Future Foundation, like it's all kind of included in this. So you can make Spider-Man look however you want. Really, really cool skin. Um, Mando is definitely up there. I love choosing Mando. That's another. Again, if this was like my most used, it'd probably be Mando, Ghost Rider. Luke is way up there in the black suit specifically because like Return of the
Mm.
Jedi Luke is
Uh,
just
Mark,
my
that's my
favorite.
number one right there. Oh God.
Yep. Then Vader's up there, but I don't use Vader. I find he's kind of like big and clunky, but I love that design. He's so good. And then like the Vader walk when you
Isn't
throw that.
I was gonna say the sound of Vader walking and the Imperial March? Ooh,
Yeah.
cool.
Master Chief, and I like the black variant that you can only unlock
Hmm.
if you play it on a Series X or S. Really, really cool
Wow.
design. Again, not one that I use a ton, but I love that I have like a specific version of Master Chief. And then rounded off X-23. Love the design, but I love the alternate one without the mask. I find the mask looks really goofy on her, and you take the mask off, and X-23 is amazing. Love that character. And Rey Skywalker. Again, if we're going by how much I use the character, Rey Skywalker's probably like up there in my top 3 or 4. I use Rey a lot because she's just a really good character, like really clean design, and yeah. So that's kind of my list. So top 5, if I really had to pick, like especially based on use, I'm gonna say most likely Steve Rogers, Captain America, Ghost Rider, Mando, Luke, and Ray. Maybe that'd be my top 5. But I've been using like Sam's Captain America, like Falcon Captain America, since he launched a few days ago, and I haven't switched. So that one might be quickly moving up the scales. But as of right now, that's the list. So based on all of this, like Fortnite's kind of like the pinnacle of like comic crossover and license crossovers and all that.
It
kind
is
of stuff.
the metaverse.
It is 100%. And that kind of inspired us to talk about crazy, wild crossovers that we would want to see and just have some fun with it. So let's talk about that. What's your crazy crossover that's like not Fortnite? Because I think like we could sit here and be like, I want to play as this person. Actually, first off, I don't know, Todd. You've never gotten into Fortnite.
Nope.
What would be like one crossover that you'd see and you'd be like, you know what? I'm kind of tempted to just download Fortnite just because of that wacky crossover.
It would have to be something so dumb that I'd be like, how did
Like
this
Peter
even
Griffin.
happen? It'd be like if Bob's Burgers or The Simpsons or American Dad or like,
Well, okay.
I don't know. I'm trying to think of something else. The Gummy Bears showed up. I mean, it would be
Gummy
that,
Bears.
Mark. Exactly.
Okay.
Old cut. You know what? Gummy Bears come back. Gargoyles. I mean, we're talking about like things that just shouldn't belong. I mean, the fact that Witcher is even in this, and it's like, hey, Geralt, here's a submachine gun. Okay, I got that. You know, it's so weird. It's like,
Man.
I don't know. And the fact, but
Give
the
me a
fact is now
Goliath
that there's,
skin.
but the fact that there's no build mode now might get me back into the game because the build mode is like, okay, kids, you're building like the Eiffel Tower, and I'm sitting here building like a outhouse, and I'm screwed, and I'm just sitting here not trying to get killed. So maybe that would be enough. And they've done so many wacky things that it's not even like you're good at the game. It's just going out and having a good time. Totally get that. I mean, it is what it is. It is the metaverse. It is the thing. And it's like, you know what? We all talk about this. Live service games. Fortnite is number one.
Yeah.
Everybody agrees. It's not even close. They do the most work. They do they make everybody happy, and they've got a season pass that everybody actually enjoys. So I give them props. So Mark, that's probably my answer. It would be like Bob's Burgers, and I would just want to be Gene farting and playing a keyboard that shoots people as I make fart noises. That's all I want to do.
I like it. I sent a meme to my nephew earlier because he loves playing build mode, but I was like, this is me in Fortnite. And it's Ralph Wiggum saying, Chuckles, I'm in danger. And it's me when I play regular build mode. And then it was the next one is me when I play no build mode. And it's basically Ralph Wiggum's head on Willie's like ripped body, and he's like ripping off his shirt, and he has like Rambo guns and stuff, and it's Chuckles, you're in danger, because that's how I feel. Like build mode, not just like skill level, not for me. No build mode, watch out, I'm coming for you.
Yeah, Logan, I watched Logan do it, and I'm like, I don't even know what you're doing right now. You're playing like you're doing advanced calculus, and I am doing like my calculator spelling boobs.
Yeah, sliding numbers on an abacus.
Exactly.
Sliding balls on an abacus. Yeah,
it's not even fair. It's not even fair. Oh, well. But yeah, you talked about crossovers. I mean, even if you look at my background, folks, that's why we're here. We're doing YouTube. I have a background, and I'm doing Marvel versus Capcom 3. MODOK, you saw him in Ant-Man Wasp Quantumania. I mean, that game is just crazy. And it's just like, I love the fact that the fighting genre created so many crazy just crossovers. X-Men versus Street Fighter. We got DC versus Mortal Kombat. I mean, we've got SNK versus Tatsunoko. Smash Brothers brought in all these different crossovers. I mean, it seems like fighting games just really pioneered the what if and made it happen. It's just crazy. We even got that weird like Sega Fighters Remix game where you got like the car from Virtua Racing that was fighting other characters. I mean, it just didn't make any sense, but that's okay. We love the weird. I mean, just embrace it. I mean, and that's what I'm so excited about in games, because anything do it. Just get a license, crossover. We got the multiversus where we got all the DC characters. We got like Game of Thrones versus Bugs Bunny. It doesn't even make sense anymore. But I think when you talk about the crossover we want to see, I think about like the Mass Effect. And where could Mass Effect go in other science fiction universes in a way that is actually like, is it feasible? So I think about like Mass Effect cross Star Trek. I think about Cross the Expanse. These are franchises I love that are a little bit more highbrow, but they could still have a really cool crossover that I just don't know where else you would get them, because you're not getting the actors like in real life doing like live action things. Too expensive. But you get their voice talent. You could do them in a booth, and you could do those things. And I think it's awesome. Think about like Dead Space versus Aliens, Mark. I mean, why not? And that would be amazing. I mean, there are so many opportunities to say what if and make it happen. And you could say that can make sense. Same thing with Samus. We think of Metroid, Aliens. They were inspired by aliens to make Metroid crossover. Yeah. I mean, that might be a little too much for Nintendo to say, oh, by the way, there's a xenomorph and it's going to like cross you over. But I mean, but you think about that's kind of the way these things launched. And you think about with Star Wars, everybody now that Star Wars is a part of Disney, what could work with Star Wars? And then maybe it's like, maybe Marvel could. And could Guardians of the Galaxy crossover with, I don't know, Mandalorian? I don't know. So, I mean, I think of all these crossovers, and I think of like, for myself, though, from a lens of the games I love and what I would like to see happen, there's a little game called Beautiful Joe. And it is all about the goofy, like crossing over like the movie genres and that type of thing. And I think Beautiful Joe crossing over with Deadpool, because it kind of goes in the absurd, could be so much fun.
I love it.
Yeah, I mean, it's slows down time, and it's like movie snuffs. And I don't even know at this point who owns Beautiful Joe, because it was like Platinum and then Capcom. But that's kind of like the stuff I would like to see. Just like, why does it even happen? I don't know, but it's awesome and just it's great.
I love that.
I don't know.
Fantastic.
What about yourself? I mean, Mark, you are a huge fan of Disney, Star Wars. I mean, all of the Nintendo franchises. You dip into Xbox quite regularly. Yep. PlayStation, sometimes you like some of those things too. I mean,
my PlayStation back up, by the way. My brother's finding his copy of God of War, so I'm finally going to play that.
Which PlayStation do you own right now? Is it the Destiny PS4?
Yeah, it still works. Okay. I fired it up. It's all good. But for this, I'm going in a different direction than some stuff you mentioned. So I have two, and they're both based off the same franchise, and it's this franchise's 30th anniversary this year. And that is, again, I'm spinning it off of something I liked in Fortnite. He didn't make the list, but Doom Guy is in Fortnite for this season. It is the original Doom's 30th anniversary. 1993 Doom dropped on I think
PC?
MS-DOS at first, PC, yes. Basically. But Doom was such a massive game and a genre defining game that I'd love to see some big celebrations for the 30th anniversary. And I think the first of those giant celebrations is Animal Crossing. I think we need a Doom Guy plus Isabel's day of fun. And I think they just need, like, he just needs to come into town for some reason. And just the two of them just have a romp. And it's just wholesome and cute. And they're best buds. I think that needs to happen. I think we've all been waiting
on Animal Crossing.
That's it. Just take a break. Doom Guy deserves a break. Everyone deserves a vacation.
Oh, that's a good point. It's like it's a vacation destination. He gets a ticket. He flies in there. Tom Nook overcharges him. Does he have like space bucks? That's how he pays Tom Nook. What's the bell to space bucks ratio? I don't know.
They have a conversion. It's okay. Don't worry too much about it. They have a conversion though. It works. So I think that would work. I want to see that because they're besties, obviously, 100% in my mind.
Is it like
canon? They are besties.
Is it like realistic Doom Guy comes down, or is he like super deformed and looks like a Animal Crossing?
He's friend? Like Animal Crossing chibi kind of art style Doom Guy. Yep, definitely.
Might be a little too unnerving if he shows up and he's like, ah,
I would kind of love that, to be honest.
that would
Just
be
this
good.
like
Yeah.
hulking, ripped like
Is it
muscle.
reciprocal, Mark? Where like one of the Animal Crossing kids comes in and like is riding on the back of Doom Guy and just killing people?
Isabel, 100%.
It's
Yeah, they're
so it's
besties.
reciprocal.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. She invited him over because they're best
Good
friends.
luck. Good luck, Microsoft, with that.
Doom Guy taught her how to rip and tear. She's going to teach him how to have a good vacation. That is the premise of this. So there's no ripping and tearing. This is a nice vacation, and Isabel's just taking him through relaxing. They go and have a good time, and that's it.
An interior design.
An interior, they design a nice house for him to relax while he's there, a beachside cabana maybe, so he can just relax and listen to the calming waves. And that's it. So Isabel and Doom Guy's Day of Fun DLC. I need it.
No
I want it.
No special Nine Inch Nails track playing over in Animal Crossing.
KK Slider tracks that week get real weird. Real weird. 100%. That could be like the keepsake. This could be a limited time event, and the KK Slider Doom track is the keepsake.
Available on vinyl now. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, you can hang the poster in your house. That would be amazing.
Love it.
So when he leaves Animal Crossing Island, this is a whole narrative, by the way. When he leaves Animal Crossing Island, Doom Guy is trying to get back to hell, but he accidentally gets on the wrong plane, and he ends up in the next epic crossover, which is Doom Guy plus Hades. He ends up in the wrong hell, and he has to rip and tear his way through Hades in some new DLC, which is Doom Guy takes on Hades and goes through the same kind of hell that I mean, the game, like kind of like you can shoot around and do some things, and I think Doom Guy's arsenal would kind of translate okay to a non first person way that Hades kind of does things. So I think that would work. I think it's a different kind of hell, and it'd be just funny if like the dialogue in Hades is so good, and I think it'd be funny to be like, where am I? This is hell, but not my hell. Like what?
Exactly.
Like, how did you end up here, mortal? It's like, I don't know. The dog put me on the wrong plane, and the thing was like, here, I don't know, Albatross Air or whatever it is in Animal Crossing. They took me to the wrong hell. It's like, but I'm going to rip and tear my way out of here. It's like, I'd like to see you try. I'm Hades and you're never escaping. And Doom Guy does what Doom Guy does.
Well, he's going to love the extra dialogue, right? Because there's no dialogue in Doom games. There's no dialogue in Animal Crossing. So the gibberish. I mean, I can't even imagine what Doom Guy sounds like in Animal Crossing gibberish. Is it that what it is? Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And then it's like goes from that, and then it's like you got people just like giving him dialogue through his head. And he's like, "Shut up, just shut up. I don't care. Yeah, it's your daddy, not mine." Yeah. I love it. It's a good mixture of like different genres to go with. I like that. So Mark, before I forget, I have one that I don't know if I've talked about before, but I think it would be really cool. Hockey on the 8-bit consoles was always a lot of fun. You got like the NES, like NES hockey, which was like Fat Mario, Skinny Mario, regular Mario, whatever, Tall Mario. Oh yeah. Which was fun. And then you got like Blades of Steel, which was like just fake, right? I mean, it was like, those aren't really franchises, but a lot of things. I want that to be revisited, but with just like the craziest like crossover ever with Konami. So I want like the Metal Gear Solid Blades of Steel. I want the Castlevania Blades of Steel. I want those like the rosters to change. Like it's Dracula plus this guy plus Simon Belmont is your front line taking on all the other Konami classics, but it's like Blades of Steel.
Okay. Yeah, I like it.
I mean, we're probably not getting a new NBA Jam with folks, but why not this?
Why does Mario and crew, why do they get all the sports franchises? Let someone else have some sports. Why not Konami?
I mean, vampires like to play. I mean, come on. We might get, MGS, like Snake. I mean, he might be really fascinated with like goaltending. We don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, blood gets spilled on the ice. The vampires might get excited. We don't know.
Super blood hockey plus
Exactly. You've inactivated Vampire Rush. Ooh, it's like the power play. That's what causes the power play, right? Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, you have as long as every hockey stick is sharpened into a stake at the other end, then you have that incentive to the vampires has to behave or they're going to get staked with a hockey stick, and then
exactly.
That's fine. It works out.
Yeah, and then you turn a Metal Gear into a Zamboni to clear the ice every period.
Yeah, naturally.
Yeah. God, Mark, they don't pay us enough to do this job. We're trademarking everything, folks. So you've heard it. We're trademarking. You do it in quotes, trademark. It's official.
That's how it works? Oh, cool.
That's how it works. Yeah. Yeah. So, Mark, I think we've done our job. And that's all we ask. To do our job. So this has been a lot of fun. So folks, if you have any dream crossovers, let us know. And by the way, I did pull up a list of like all the weird Fortnite things that have happened. Mark, this game is the most successful game probably in history, and they're still on crack. I don't know what the hamburger guy's doing with his big tongue, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a franchise within the game.
Or the banana guy with like half his skull, like his skeleton,
peeling.
visible.
Yeah, he's got a ton of variations. Yeah, the skull one's so really creepy. I like it.
It's so weird. Oh well. Can we get ourselves in Fortnite?
No.
But really. Why?
I know we should be able to.
There's probably somebody that looks like me, a bald guy. Did you say it's Todd?
Yeah,
there we go. And you look like Obi-Wan, so I think we're covered, maybe.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, there we go. We're covered. Yeah, look for us in Fortnite, folks. By the way, there you go. So, Mark, thank you for joining us on this wonderful voyage of the world of video games. So, tell people where they can find you.
You can find me pretty much everywhere: Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and in our Discord as _Canardian. You can also find me on Hive as just Canardian.
Very good. I'm on Twitter at Tioxer, talking about all things video games, comic books, whatever you have. Follow us on at Secret Friends U for all things Twitter, secretfriendsunite.com for all things Secret Friends Unite, and our Patreon, patreon.com/Secret Friends Unite. And check us out. We've added like some previews in our videos, which is great. Thank you, Mark, for doing that. I'm doing it now as well. So you can see like if it's something you want to watch and enjoy. And we're going to eventually put some Patreon exclusive content out for everybody to enjoy just to see if you like it. I think that's fair. I think it's something we're going to do. So we don't want to take away from our Patreons, but we want you to see what we're doing. That's really cool. And hopefully you enjoy it. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Patreons will still get everything first, but some of the stuff will hit the main feed eventually, just to kind of give a little taste of, what you're getting delayed or what you're missing in general.
Absolutely. This has been a fun voyage in the world of video games. Thank you, Mark. And remember, folks, it's always better to game together.
This podcast is part of the Secret Friends Unite podcasting network. Visit secretfriendsunite.com for more great shows, articles, news, reviews, and more. Secret Friends Unite podcasts are available on Apple, Google, Spotify, and other podcast services around the world. If you'd like to be part of the conversation, you can join us on Facebook or our new Discord server, or follow at Secret Friends U on Twitter. Please subscribe to Secret Friends Unite on YouTube and visit our merch store at tpublic.com. Just search Secret Friends Unite. Thanks for listening.